In 2024, Malaysian football died on the world stage, and the killers wore suits, not jerseys. This isn't clickbait. This is about how an entire nation's football dreams got crushed by bureaucrats who'd never kicked a ball in their lives. Players banned, coaches silenced, kids, their future stolen. And the worst part? It was 100% preventable. I'm going to show you exactly what happened, who's responsible, and why this nightmare could happen to your country next. Let's get into it. February 2024. FIFA, the most powerful organization in world football, drops an absolute bomb. Malaysia is banned from all international football. Completely. Totally. Every competition, every qualifier, every friendly match gone. Malaysia became the first Southeast Asian nation to face a full FIFA suspension in 15 years. Think about that. Not war-torn countries. Not nations in political chaos. Malaysia, a stable, developing nation banned. Let me introduce you to Ahmad. He's 34, a youth football coach from Kuala Lumpur. For 8 years, he woke up at 5 a.m. to train kids on dusty fields, believing one of them might wear the national jersey someday. He'd invested everything, his time, his money from his second job, his whole identity, into building the next generation of Malaysian football. February 3rd, 2024. Ahmad checks his phone over breakfast. One notification. FIFA suspends Malaysia. His entire career suspended. Just like that. Overnight. Imagine dedicating your life to something, pouring your soul into it, and then watching bureaucrats destroy it in one boardroom meeting. That's not just professional devastation. That's personal betrayal. But here's the thing. This wasn't about the players. This wasn't about match fixing or doping or violence. This was about something far more sinister. The root cause of Malaysia's football death? Their own government seized control of the Football Association of Malaysia, FAM. Here's what you need to understand. FIFA has one iron rule that they enforce ruthlessly across all 211 member nations. Governments cannot interfere with football associations. Period. It's written into FIFA's constitution, Article 14 and Article 19. Break this rule and you're out. Malaysia broke it anyway. Between 2022 and 2023, the Malaysian government, specifically the Youth and Sports Ministry, started installing their own people into FAM leadership positions. They overruled elections. They vetoed decisions. They turned an independent sports organization into a government department. Meet Dato Hamidin Mohammed Amin, FAM president. He fought for FAM's autonomy. He pushed back against government interference. And he got steamrolled by ministry officials who'd never coached a team, never managed a club, never understood what it meant to build football from the grassroots up. Picture this. You're running a football association. You're making decisions about coaching development, youth programs, tournament schedules. Then suddenly, politicians who've never kicked a ball in a competitive match are telling you how to run the sport. They're deciding who gets contracts, who gets broadcasting rights, who gets to control the money. And when FIFA sent warnings, when the world's football authorities said, "Stop this now or face consequences," Malaysia's government did the unthinkable. They ignored them. All of them. Let me show you the timeline of arrogance. FIFA sends the first official warning letter to Malaysia. Restore FAM's autonomy or face sanctions. Malaysia's response? Silence. The second warning arrives with an actual deadline. FIFA isn't playing around anymore. Malaysia's government? Still interfering. Final ultimatum. FIFA tells Malaysia, this is your last chance. Fix this in 6 months or you're banned from world football. Malaysia's government keeps right on interfering. FIFA pulls the trigger. Ban hammer. This wasn't a surprise attack. This wasn't unfair. This was 19 months of warnings that got completely ignored because politicians thought they were bigger than... Now let me tell you about Sarah Lim. She's 19 years old. National women's team midfielder. Insanely talented. Last year, she had a trial with a professional club in Japan. They were impressed. They were ready to offer a contract and a scholarship. Then the ban hit. International clubs can't sign players from banned nations. It's too risky, too complicated legally. Sarah's opportunity? Vanished. Her scholarship? Revoked. Her future in professional football? destroyed. I spoke with Sarah after the ban. You wanna know what she said? They gambled with our dreams, not theirs. Those politicians, they still have their jobs, their salaries, their pensions. I have nothing. She was right. The government officials who caused this crisis, they faced zero personal consequences. Meanwhile, hundreds of athletes like Sarah watched their dreams die. But here's where it gets even darker. The ban wasn't just about control. Follow the money. Always follow the money. When government officials control football associations, they control everything. Million-dollar broadcasting rights, stadium construction contracts, international sponsorship deals, merchandise licensing. We're talking about massive financial flows. And here's the uncomfortable truth. When politicians install their own people into sports organizations, it's rarely about improving governance. It's about access. Access to contracts. Access to money. Access to influence. Transparency International Malaysia released a 2023 report on sports governance. They rank Malaysian football at 6.2 out of 10 on the Corruption Risk Index. That's not good. That's high risk of financial misconduct territory. During the 4-month ban period, Malaysian clubs lost over $12 million in international tournament revenue. Let me break that down for you. No AFC Champions League participation. There goes prize money, TV revenue, and sponsorship bonuses. No international friendlies. Kiss goodbye to appearance fees and gate revenue. No FIFA development grants. That's funding for youth programs gone. Let me tell you about Johor Darul Ta'zim FC, JDT. They're Malaysia's richest and most successful club. Crown Prince of Johor owns them. State-of-the-art facilities. Professional management. They've dominated Malaysian football for years. The ban hit, and JDT couldn't compete in the AFC Champions League, Asia's premier club competition. Conservative estimates? They lost $3.8 million in potential prize money, sponsorships, and broadcasting deals. In one season, picture this. You're a JDT player. You've trained all year for the biggest competition of your career. You're watching clubs from Thailand, Indonesia, Vietnam, South Korea, all competing for glory and massive prizes. You're sitting at home, not because you weren't good enough, because politicians screwed up. Players watching other Asian teams celebrate victories they should have competed for, holding trophies they could have won, earning money they deserved. Meanwhile, Malaysian fans did something that shocked the entire football world. Social media exploded. Within 48 hours of the ban announcement, #SaveMalaysianFootball was trending globally. Over 2.3 million tweets. Not just in Malaysia, football fans worldwide were talking about this scandal. The engagement metrics from February 2024 social analytics showed this was one of the biggest football controversies of the year. But Malaysian fans didn't just tweet. They moved. Meet the Ultras Malaya, Malaysia's most passionate supporter group. These aren't casual fans. These are people who organize cross-country trips to away matches, who spend their hard-earned money on tickets and jerseys, who build their social lives around football. 3 days after the ban, they organized a march to Parliament. 15,000 people showed up. 15,000 Malaysians walked through Kuala Lumpur demanding one thing. Government, get your hands off our football. And their pressure worked. Partially, because what happened next proves that people's power can move mountains, or at least it can move bureaucrats. June 2024. 4 months after the ban. After international pressure from the Asian Football Confederation. After massive public outcry, after Malaysia's reputation in international sports was completely shredded, the government finally backed down. They signed an agreement with FAM to restore the association's autonomy. Politicians would step back. FAM could elect its own leadership, make its own decisions, operate independently like FIFA demands. July 11th, 2024. FIFA officially lifts the ban. Malaysian football was back. Ahmad could coach again. Sarah could try out for clubs again. Teams could compete again. But here's what the celebration footage doesn't show you. Ahmad returned to his training field in July. You know how many of his youth players came back? 60%. That's it. The other 40%? Gone. Some switched to other sports. Some just gave up on their football dreams entirely. For months doesn't sound like a long time, but for a 14-year-old athlete, 4 months of zero training, zero competition, zero hope, that's enough to kill a dream. FIFA's media release from July 11th was clear. This ban was being lifted conditionally based on demonstrable autonomy reforms. In other words, FIFA was watching. One wrong move, one hint of government interference again, and the ban would come back. It's joy mixed with grief. Freedom with permanent scars. Because here's the truth nobody's saying out loud. The real cost of this scandal isn't measured in months. It's measured in a lost generation. Malaysia's FIFA World ranking dropped from 131 to 143 during the ban period. That might not sound dramatic, but in international football, rankings determine qualification routes, seeding in tournaments, and funding allocations. Moving down 12 spots means harder paths to major competitions for years. Youth enrollment in Malaysian football academies dropped 34% between February and August 2024. That's according to the Malaysian Football League's own 2024 annual report. Thousands of kids who would have started football training didn't. Their parents saw the chaos and said, why invest time and money in a sport that could get shut down by politics? 3 major international sponsors pulled out of Malaysian football during the ban. We're talking about $8.6 million combined. Adidas reduced their commitment. Telecommunications companies backed away from broadcasting deals. Energy drink brands found other Southeast Asian markets. Some of that money is coming back. Some of it is gone forever. Remember Sarah? Our 19-year-old midfielder with a Japanese club opportunity? She works retail now, part-time at a sports equipment store. She still trains, alone, on weekends, on public fields. She told me, I'll never forgive them for stealing my one chance. I was right there, right at the edge of making it professionally. And they took it away for politics I didn't even understand. Imagine training until your muscles scream, bleeding for your country, sacrificing social life and study time and everything else, then watching politicians use your dream as a bargaining chip in their power games. Meanwhile, while Malaysia was fighting itself, what were other Southeast Asian nations doing? Indonesia invested $23 million into youth football development in 2024. Thailand launched 3 new professional academies. Vietnam signed partnerships with European clubs for coaching education. Malaysia lost ground, not just 4 months, an entire generation of development compared to regional rivals. And the scariest part? This could happen again. That autonomy agreement that got FIFA to lift the ban, it has loopholes. Big ones. The Malaysian government retained what they call an advisory role in FAM advisory. That's the gray area. That's the danger zone. Because advisory can mean anything. It can mean respectful consultation, or it can mean do what we advise. I spoke with an AFC governance specialist who requested anonymity. They told me, conditional autonomy is still not full autonomy. FIFA's watching, yes. But if Malaysia's government is smart about it, they can still exert influence without technically violating the agreement. The question is whether they've learned their lesson or just learned to be more subtle. This isn't theoretical. Look at Zimbabwe. They've been banned by FIFA multiple times. 2015, 2022, always because their government can't stop interfering with their football association. Kenya's been in ongoing battles with FIFA over the same issue. Once governments taste that control over sports money and influence, they rarely let go voluntarily. So what does this mean for Malaysian football? It means uncertainty. It means every FAM decision will be scrutinized. Every government comment will be analyzed. It means players and coaches and fans live with this constant fear. Will Malaysian kids go through this nightmare again in 5 years? So what can actually stop this from happening again? Grassroots reform. That's the only answer. And it has to come from multiple directions. The more Malaysian football can fund itself through corporate sponsorships independent of government money, the less leverage politicians have. JDT's model, privately funded, professionally managed, is what every Malaysian club should aspire to. Money equals independence. The Crown Prince of Johor, who owns JDT, he's now lobbying for transparent governance reforms across Malaysian football. He's creating a model that other clubs can follow. Private investment, clear financial audits, professional management structures that don't depend on government approval. ASEAN football federations need to create a mutual accountability pact. If one nation faces government interference, the others should publicly support FIFA's enforcement. Regional pressure works. Indonesia, Thailand, Singapore, Vietnam, they should all be saying to Malaysia, don't do this again. You make our whole region look bad. And you know what? There's actual hope here. New youth programs launched in August 2024. Enrollment is recovering. Slowly, but it's recovering. There are 12-year-old kids in Kuala Lumpur right now who don't remember the ban. They're just excited to play football. FIFA's good governance principles from 2023 are clear: transparency, accountability, checks and balances, democratic processes, financial oversight. These aren't just bureaucratic buzzwords. These are the foundations that protect sports from political corruption. If Malaysia implements these principles, really implements them, not just pays lip service, then this scandal becomes a turning point. A lesson learned. A foundation for building something better. Picture Malaysian kids running on fields again, dreaming big, believing they can compete at World Cups, knowing that nobody's political agenda is blocking their path. That's possible. That's the future Malaysian football can have. But only if everyone, fans, players, administrators, and yes, politicians, learns from this nightmare. So here's what I need to know from you. If you were a Malaysian footballer who lost 4 months of your career to this ban, 4 months of training, competition, development, opportunities, would you ever trust your government with football again? Or should FIFA enforce a permanent hands-off rule for all nations? Like constitutional level separation between sports and politics? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I'm genuinely curious where you stand on this. And if you're watching from another country, do me a favor. Check your football federation right now. Is your government interfering? Is there political pressure on your sports organizations that you haven't noticed? Drop your country name in the comments. Let's compare notes. Because of Malaysia's scandal, it's just a warning. The question is, who's next? We're tracking football corruption and governance issues worldwide. Subscribe so you don't miss the next exposure. Because trust me, there's always a next one.